What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of On the Record presented by CalledIt. Happy Friday to all of you out there, and happy World Cup. How about an exciting day one with those two matches yesterday, Mexico coming through, and how about South Korea not only getting the job done against Czechia, but also helping contribute to our challenge, The Run, where we look to take a $250 investment, turn it all the way into $1 million. And thanks to South Korea coming from behind and sealing the deal, we are now on day 3 of our trade. You can see the run total at the top of the screen, over $1,200. And naturally, that's going to coincide with our daily call today that will feature another loaded World Cup slate, looking at the United States of America and Paraguay, that matchup taking place later this evening. So that's going to focus on the daily call, which we will discuss plenty. Myself, Cormac Lickney, and also Adam Kaufman, who will be joining momentarily. But just to prep a little bit more of the show, we will keep it all soccer focused today with the World Cup beginning. We'll also talk about a match happening tomorrow with Brazil and Morocco, a very compelling one. Brazil, obviously one of the most storied nations in the World Cup. Excited to get the fellas' thoughts on that. And then we'll talk some potential matchups down the line with the United States and maybe another nation that, hey, if they get out of the group stage, it's going to make for a very compelling showdown. So you're not going to want to miss that in that potential market that we will be spitballing about throughout the next 30 minutes. But again, the show is on the record. The website is CalledIt.media, and over there you can sign up for our daily newsletter. It's completely free. You just log in your email, you see what our daily trade is going to be, and there you can log your opinion. You can either follow, you can go the opposite direction, or you can put in your own alternate trade to see how you stack up amongst the rest of the community. And make sure you get logged in now, because we are doing free giveaways with merch. We have hats, sweatshirt, polos, t-shirts, all of these cool pieces of gear that you can randomly get drawn for if you sign up before the end of this group stage. So make sure you head to CalledIt.media. And another great thing that's happening at the website right now is the World Cup page. You can see there are specific odds, the chances that these teams are going to get through. Right now, you can look at the overall winner, the percentages: Spain 18%, France 17%. You can click around, look at that group stage numbers. Just a really cool feature happening at CalledIt. So not only are you able to log and see our newsletter and analysis there, but you get other cool features like that. So a lot of great stuff happening. Make sure you check it out at CalledIt.media. Let's go ahead and bring in our guest, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and talk to our guy out on the East Coast, Mr. Adam Kaufman at Adam M. Kaufman, where you can catch him on X. Adam, a pleasure as always to have you here. You know, you and I were talking before the show started, and I know you had yourself a pretty darn good day for the first day of the World Cup.
Oh, I was betting this thing like I had the almanac, like I had the crystal ball, my friend. I don't know if suddenly, and look, this is probably not the case. I was going to say, like, maybe I just really know soccer and I could see the future. No, the reality is I just think these first couple of matches that we got yesterday were fairly predictable. You know, I like to look around at various articles and talk to people in the space that I trust and see how people are investing, and most everyone felt the same way. And it's just kind of nice when the script follows suit with what, again, everyone believes, and that was Mexico was going to win and not have too much trouble doing so, whether you wanted to, again, just invest in the victory or whether you wanted to get a little fancier with Mexico scoring multiple times. I know that's a play that you were on, or looking at Mexico to, you know, be the only team in the match that scores, go against both teams scoring. And that was, again, it just all played out every angle that you could have conceivably looked at. Now, the other match, the night match, that one was, a little sweatier, if you will, because I, like CalledIt, was on South Korea. And that one, with the early goal by Czechia, it was like, this may not go our way. But then the South Korean team, a flair for the dramatic late with a pair of goals, first to tie, and then ultimately to get that victory. And so it was exciting. I thought it was a really great day to open up the World Cup. Certainly a lot of bettors out there, or investors, I should say, were profitable, and that's a good thing. And now we'll see what ends up happening with the one that, stateside here, we're all really excited about, which is obviously Team USA getting at it.
Oh, no doubt about it. Cannot wait to get into that. And yeah, Adam, like you said, South Korea for CalledIt trading at 36 cents. What a game and what a call, helping contribute to that run now on day 3. And it will revolve around tonight's match between USA and Paraguay. So we will talk about that in just a few moments. But Cormac, I know you were just absolutely glued to the screen yourself. How did the first day live up into your expectations for those two matches?
Well, you know what? I think that they kind of both went, yeah, again, the way I would have expected. I think that the first game, I'm surprised. I can't believe 3 red cards in the first game, the opening game of the World Cup. I think in the last World Cup, there was only 4 red cards total. So already we're 3/4 of the way done with the World Cup total of red cards. The second match, actually, as much as I was glued to my screen for probably the first 30 minutes, then my town got hit with a pretty bad storm and I lost all power. So we did get to watch the highlights, but and to be fair, that first Korea goal I thought was phenomenal. That's my favorite type of goal, a chip shot. There's nothing quite like it. So I was impressed with that. But yeah, you know what? I think first day kind of went to schedule, went to plan, I think, as a lot of people would have expected.
Yeah, and you mentioned the storms out here by, you and me here in the Midwest. I'm glad you're powering through here. You're a trooper, so we're happy to have you on. We'd be absolutely bummed if we didn't get Cormac here for the World Cup, especially with the U.S. playing tonight. So we are ecstatic that you're able to join us. And folks, make sure you follow him on TikTok and Instagram at Cormac_United. Plenty to discuss and pick your brain about, and can't wait for all of that, because the first market that we will be looking at naturally is going to be the United States and Paraguay tonight in the World Cup. For both of these nations' first game, you can see on Kalshi right now at 47% is what the United States is trading at, or American odds of plus 105. If you believe it ends in a tie, 30% chance is what the market is telling us. Those chances are that it does end in a draw. Plus 217 American odds, or Paraguay in that underdog position, plus 295, or rather 24%, trading at 24 cents for tonight's match. Now, again, this does revolve around the daily call at CalledIt. And in case you missed it, make sure you sign up at calledit.media, enter your email. It's completely free, because you can get some of the better prices before the market moves, because this was trading earlier at 51 cents. We have seen some movement, but now you're obviously getting a better price at just 47 cents. In instances in the past, CalledIt has had a much better number, only a little bit off here when they gave out the daily call. So the yes on the United States to win is the trade today for CalledIt. It is going in the run, and it is the daily call. So they got it at 48 cents. The conviction for CalledIt, they believe it should be trading at 52 cents. So we see this matchup. Cormac, we'll kick it to you first. We've seen the movement in the market. We know that for the challenge of the run, CalledIt is siding with the United States of America. You guys know me. I'm going to be a little bit biased here, but I also do truly think that they are the better side in this match. But what say you, Cormac? I know you're not afraid to shy down for some criticism for your home nation.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm as unbiased as they come, right, if you will. But yeah, I just think at the end of the day, I just think the U.S. is going to win. We look at the last time these two faced off in last November. The U.S. won 2-1, notably with a late goal from Florian Balogun, and also actually a pretty big fight coming up. So we were talking about it a second ago, the 3 red cards already in the World Cup. We might be seeing another one, because actually a pretty big brawl broke up last time these two teams met. But that was a 2-1 win for the U.S., a fairly comfortable win. And I would say even furthermore, with a very weak squad, without Pulisic, without McKennie, without Tillman, without Weah, without Robinson, without Richards, and without the captain, Tyler Adams. It was a weakened U.S. squad, and we were still able to come away with the win. So I feel very, very confident in the Stars and Stripes today. I think that Christian Pulisic will get on the score sheet. And yeah, I'm just so excited, so excited to hopefully get a glimpse of what this team is going to do, with really the first time we're going to see a proper starting 11. These last few friendlies that the U.S. has been doing, Pochettino has kind of been doing a team of 2 halves, where you'll have half the starters, half subs in the first half, and then on the second half, he swaps it out. So now I think it's going to be the first time we really get to see maybe a more cohesive, complete U.S. squad.
Adam, I know, again, we talked about it. You had a terrific day yesterday. Is a portion, or if not all of that, going to be invested on the side of the United States against Paraguay tonight?
Oh, roll it right over. Mortgage payments siding with Called It on Team USA. And listen, I see what Cormac is doing with that Team USA t-shirt, and I'm kind of upset with myself because I've got a hockey sweater hanging in the closet that I should be wearing right now to back the red, white, and blue as well. I want to piggyback off of the last thing that Cormac said, which is, again, these half rosters that have been going out during these friendlies. So you look at these recent 4 friendlies, and it's easy to kind of get down on the Americans and see losses in 3 out of 4 getting handled by Belgium, by Portugal. It was a nice win over Senegal, as it should be. And then more recently, an encouraging, albeit loss, 2-1 against Germany. But again, you go back to that roster. When the Americans faced Paraguay most recently in that 2-1 win, you only saw 6 of the players that are expected to start here in this game. So you should see a full lineup. You should be leaning on Pulisic to be involved and to get on the score sheet. I just look at him to, put a couple shots on target. We'll see what ends up happening there. But I know there are a lot of people that are trading on Pulisic to score in this game. One thing that I think should not get overlooked, if we're going to talk about pressure as it relates to the Americans, yes, 3 points here would go a long way toward winning the group. That's clear. Also, it's at least notable that, as we've talked about before, 8 third-place teams will get to the round of 32. So is it pivotal? Is it necessary? I wouldn't say that. But the Americans are, kind of coming off of floundering performances. We've seen the coaching change in the last couple of years as well. They are aware, especially as a host country, how important this match is to set the tone there at SoFi Stadium. And a fascinating nugget that I read earlier, I didn't know this, maybe Cormac, you do. Host nations have won 16 of 23 opening matches at the World Cup with only 1 loss back in 2022. Everything else was a draw. So for the Americans to go out and not, at the very least, pick up a point with, a draw today would be almost beyond imagination. I mean, these two countries, in terms of the groupings, are positionally separated by 23, 24 spots. I mean, there's a clear dynamic as to which club is better, and that is Team USA. So again, I'm with you guys. I'm with Called It. I'm on Team USA to go out and get the win. Probably a lower scoring win, probably a tightly contested, albeit stressful win, but a win no less.
Yeah, and I actually like what you said there about pressure, because I do think there is quite a bit of pressure on the U.S. headed into this. Of course, being the hosts of the whole World Cup, there's going to be extra eyes on the United States. But I just feel like, especially also because this is supposed to be the U.S.'s golden generation, right? So if this is going to be the best that we've ever had, let's show that it actually is, right? And so I think today we were talking about like how important this first game is. And to me, it is so important, not only because Paraguay are probably the weakest team in our group, so you want to get the win there, but also we don't want to be in the position that we were in 2022. Of course, it still worked out with us in the last World Cup, but we were heading into the last match needing a win. We had to win the match. Typically, the rule is that if you get 4 points from the group stage, it's usually good enough to get through, right? And so if we get a win today, that puts us in such a good spot, especially now. The rule was 4 points before they added in the third place team. So really a win today is so important for the rest of not only obviously the group stage, but the rest of the tournament. I mean, I think that this match will give so much, especially a dominant, confident win for the U.S. is so important for not only, again, the 3 points that it rewards you with, but also just with the feeling of belief, especially after, a few, whether or not we had good performances, maybe not great results for the U.S. You want to have a win. You want to have that confidence that, yes, we're here. Yes, we are good enough to kind of prove to the world, really, that the U.S. is a nation that can play soccer, can play football.
Danny, I don't want to be worried about Australia's results and Turkey's results. No, Americans go out, take care of business. Right. This is a Paraguay team that has not been in the World Cup in 16 years. It's been since 2010. Okay, like I realize that it's no great shakes the Americans, but at least Team USA is getting there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Paraguay could be to some degree in it over its head, and maybe bright lights, if you will. Again, the host nation of the crowd is going to be crazy at SoFi. It should be overwhelming in terms of the American support. Go out and deliver. Early goals set the tone. Cruise from there.
See, and that's a good point, Adam. You bring up early goal, and you're absolutely right. I mean, you got to alleviate some of that pressure, especially hosting it in your home nation. You're there right now, SoFi Stadium, by the way. That's where it's taking place. So Adam's already got
right.
boots on the ground. You can see
I'm
in
ready.
the background. He's ready. He's geared up. Corrick, I did want to ask you, though. I mean, do you think because of the pressure that the United States feels, not only just every time for the World Cup, but especially now that you're in your backyard, that the nerves may be uprising more than usual, and because they do have a bit more talent in this specific matchup, that this could easily be a scoreless first half, just a lower scoring affair in general, slower to get out of the gates? Do you kind of lean into that expectation, or not something you buy into necessarily?
I'm not sure I buy into that, and I think in big reason because it's weird. Like, I think that the U.S. probably maybe our strengths are in our defense, but ironically, it's because we have defenders that are good at attacking. And so I just feel like the way that the U.S. is going to play football, the way that they're going to play soccer today is going to be more aggressive. I think with Serginho Dest, who will likely play as the fullback on the right side, he might play on the right wing, but even if not, if it's Freeman, I think both of them are fairly attacking fullbacks. And then on the other side, Anthony Robinson is the same thing. So I actually believe that maybe not so much about the nerves or anything like that. I just believe that the U.S. is going to go try and be offensive. And then realistically, also, I think that maybe our defense overall defensively is not so strong. And I think that Tim Ream, I love Tim Ream, but let's be honest, he's 37, 38 years old now. So he's probably not in his prime anymore, if you will. And so I just believe that the U.S. is going to go out there. They're going to go play attacking, aggressive football, and hopefully that results in goals. Maybe that means they're going to concede goals, but hopefully they're going to put them in the back of the net the other way as well.
Danny, isn't this the same guy that told me earlier this week that Ronaldo at 41 isn't playing in his final World Cup? Now all of a sudden we're attacking the olds on the wrong side of 30. Calm down.
Again, the question is not about ability. That's about ego. And I think that while Cristiano does have the ego and belief, self-belief that he could play at 100 years old, I think Tim Ream might not believe that he could play right now. I'm not sure, but we'll see,
To both your points about the defense, by the way, Danny, I'll put you on the spot here. Do you know how many goals Paraguay has scored over its last 18 qualifiers?
Yes, I actually wrote this down. It's 14, right?
14!
Yeah.
This is not a country that goes out and scores goals. I mean, this should be good old-fashioned clock killing, if you will. Prevent defense for the Americans. Again, get that goal sometime in the first half. I'm not saying 5 minutes in. Sometime in the first half, go up 1-0 into the break, through all your stoppage time, all of that. And from there, again, just keep it out of their end. They, historically, in these recent matches, barely even touch the ball on the other side of the field. That's the key to success. Again, I know there are a lot of people that are chasing the value in both teams to score because the American defense is, prone to have the occasional breakdown. I get it. I'm not even saying it's a bad investment for you, but I'm not going to be the least bit surprised if we get a 1-0, 2-0 U.S. win stays under the total.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I actually think, I almost believe the opposite. I think that the U.S., because you say score and almost play defensively. And I see that, there's some truth to that, but I also actually believe I definitely agree. An early goal is important because if the U.S. scores, it makes it so that now Paraguay, the option of sitting back and praying is no longer available. You need to score a goal now, right? You have to score a goal. And so I think that the U.S. getting an early goal in just first 10 minutes, first 15 minutes is so important. It's so important for the U.S. to go out there and give it to them, really give it to them. Get players up the pitch, play aggressive, play offensive, because sure, there's the risk that we could concede, but I actually believe that we have the strength, we have the offensive talent to be able to break down the Paraguay defense if we maybe slow things down. But I also believe that if we go at them and we really try and score a goal early on in the match and we are rewarded with that goal, that's so important, because then also we know, again, with this third place rule. Just generally, it's only 3 matches of football that you play in the group stage. Goal difference matters. It does matter. And so if we're able to, instead of putting up 2 goals, if we can put up 3 or 4 goals and get that goal difference in the favor of the United States, I also just think that is such a big upper hand that the U.S. can give themselves headed in to the next matches of the group stages.
We're talking to you, Pulisic. You paying attention? Is he down there warming up? Pulisic. Christian.
He heard
he's in the locker room. He can't hear me.
Adam's got the press pass. He'll be down there. He'll give us the live feed momentarily. No question about it. As you can see right there, SoFi Stadium, 9 p.m. Eastern time, USA and Paraguay. Going to be an electric matchup. Today's daily call. CalledIt is going with the United States of America, trading at 48 cents is where they pulled the trigger on them. Currently, they're at 47 cents. The conviction, CalledIt believes it should be priced more so at 52 cents. Us around the panel here, hey, we're riding the same, representing the
If
USA.
we get a win, we're going to see Cormac dancing again on social media.
Can't wait.
If we get a lose, we're going to see it either way, man. Come on, it's the World Cup.
It's
going to be dancing.
but this will be happy.
We don't want sad dancing. Lonely, divorcee in the club. We want, we want you popping off like a young, spry 25-year-old.
Right.
It's just got the whole world in front of you.
I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can.
That's why you follow him on TikTok. You see right there on the screen, folks, at Cormac_United. You're getting dancing either way. Let's just hope it's a happy dance. And again, this is involved with the run. The challenge should take $250 and turn it into $1 million. So it's a daily call, and it's trade number 3 of the run for us here at CalledIt. Currently, the pot sits at over $1,200. If the United States can come through, we'll be sitting pretty at over $2,600. So make sure you follow along. CalledIt.media to see what the next run challenge call is and the daily call in general. Make sure you tune along for all of that. What we'll also be tuned into for Saturday's slate of World Cup action, gentlemen, how about Brazil and Morocco? Now, it seems like, Cormac, people have mixed feelings about this Brazilian team, and right now at Polymarket you can see that Brazil trading at 60 cents, the draw 25 cents, and Morocco at 17 cents. What do you think of this pricing right now, Cormac? I mean, it makes sense, of course, that Brazil is slated to be the favorite in this matchup, but is 60 cents a bit too rich?
Yeah, it does seem a little bit too good to be true, right? Like, here's the thing. I think Brazil, just the name Brazil, wearing that kit, when they wear that yellow and green, it has an extra weight to it, right? Because they are the most dominant international side ever, right? We know how good they are. Like, you can list 100 players that have more credibility than maybe some of the Americans, right? And so I think that is what kind of carries Brazil into this, is just the pedigree that they carry. Whereas if you actually look at maybe on the pitch, especially on the pitch for Brazil, if you look at this matchup right here, on paper, Brazil has the better squad. I mean, they absolutely have the better squad on paper. The problem is that when you get on the pitch, it's like a paper shredder. These guys fall apart, And so I just think that, you have the likes of Vinicius Jr., Rafinha, who at the club level are phenomenal. They're superb. I mean, last year, Rafinha was in the conversations for winning the Ballon d'Or. And it was only 1 or 2 years before that Vinicius Jr. was in those same conversations. So I think that Brazil, of course, the quality of Brazil, we know how good they are. But the question is, can you actually make something with that quality? Can you actually show us something on the pitch? And I think Morocco is actually maybe the opposite of that, where they don't have that same quality, quote unquote, on paper. But what they've shown us, getting to the semifinals, the quarterfinals of last year, or of the last World Cup, overperforming in that way. And then also, of course, making it to the AFCON finals. Technically, they are the champions of AFCON, but maybe the champions of AFCON in the same way that Kim Jong-un is the supreme leader of North Korea. So we'll see if that really counts. But you know what? I think that it should be a great matchup. I think that there's probably some value in Morocco, but I also do think that Brazil will win. It's a bit of a strange one.
Adam, do you have a bit more conviction on one side or the other? Something that you'll be placing your stamp on?
So I have not figured out how I plan to invest in this match just yet, other than to say, yeah, I mean, let's be honest, I'm going to invest in this match in some form, and maybe it is both teams to score something along those lines. I think the number is fair. I think Brazil is a popular team, clearly entering the World Cup, a team that is chasing a sixth championship and knows what's on the line, is dealing with some injuries, Neymar most notably, and that is a concern. But this is a Morocco team, just to give the proper respect, that a lot of people are viewing as a dark horse to be able to win the World Cup. Now, what's fascinating about this matchup, even in group play here, is, I'm sure Cormac would agree, there's a very good chance that the outcome of this one singular game will decide the winner of the group, because the other teams you're talking about, it's Haiti, it's Scotland. Like, give me a break. It's these two countries ultimately vying for the 3 points here. Would hate either one. Well, maybe Morocco, you're not as disappointed, but Brazil certainly doesn't want to have to settle for a draw and make it more of an uphill battle in this situation. That said, the 60 cents that you mentioned, I think it's fair. I don't think it's too rich, because, again, Brazil is viewed as the heavy favorite in this game, and it should be kind of universally, outside of Morocco anyway, viewed as a disappointment if Brazil does not win this match. And so I don't know if there's going to be a called it trade on it tomorrow. We'll see. We got to get through Team USA Today first. But
I actually
is go ahead.
Well, I'm actually not as sure as you are on that. As far as I know that Brazil are, they've got the better chance here. But I look at it and I think, are they really? I mean, again, on paper, they're the better team for sure. Like, if you look at, I mean, Gabriel just got to a Champions League final, won the Premier League with Arsenal, is one of their best players. You look at, I mean, of course, Neymar is not what he wants. He's not 2014 Neymar anymore with his hamstring that's about as strong as wet cardboard. But I do think that you look through that squad, Vinicius Jr., Rafinha, even Mateus Cunha for Manchester United. These are players that, they're top-level players. We know how good they are. The question is, can they actually make it happen? This has been the story of Brazil for how long? I mean, the quality of Brazilian players, maybe it's fallen off a little bit from what it once was, but they still have quality. They still have how many players that are playing at top clubs in Europe, playing important players at top clubs in Europe. So there's no doubt that they still have that quality, but it's making it mesh and just actually making it fabricate, making it come to reality. Because, again, I think this is the question. Morocco, they're a weaker side on paper. They don't have maybe as many players who would be regarded at the level of Brazil. But if you look at how they actually play, how cohesive they are, there's no doubt that they are a more cohesive, a stronger unit altogether. For me, that's not a question.
You know what this is feeling like, Danny? This is a conversation I was having with someone just earlier this morning. The whole debate of, are you the best team in a given matchup, a given series, on a given day, or are you the better team up and down because of your talent? Feels a little NBA championship, NBA finals, a little Knicks and Spurs right now, right? I think most people would look at it and say, on paper, yeah, San Antonio is the deeper, more talented team. Who's playing better, though? Who's more ready for the moment? Clearly, that's New York. I know we're sticking to soccer today, but maybe there's a little bit of that. Maybe there's a little bit of the, Morocco, Knicks, dark horse, underdog showing up and out-dueling the better team on a given day. I guess we'll find out.
Could be. It'll be exciting nonetheless. Again, that is tomorrow for that match at 6 p.m. Eastern time between Brazil and Morocco. MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, out on the East Coast, somewhat in Adam's other neck of the woods. He's on the West Coast right now at SoFi, but he'll be going back home.
I'll make my way back.
Yeah, he's going to be at all the matches here.
After Team USA takes care of business.
That's right. He's got to pay for that ticket to fly home somehow. So the United States has to come home for Adam to come home. That's the ideal scenario for our friend. All right, guys. We like to conclude with sometimes hypothetical, sometimes trending topics. But we had an interesting discussion here about the potential matchup if the United States were to make it through their group stage play, and if another nation did, Iran. So if they were to meet in the round of 32, this potential matchup would be just nuts for obvious reasons of what's happening outside of the World Cup. This would be presumably on July 3rd in Arlington, Texas, it looks like, if all went according to plan of them meeting up, of course, right before the 4th of July. I mean, this would just send the country in a whirlwind. Cormac, in this hypothetical scenario, what would you even imagine for this matchup in terms of just the scenes, but then also pricing and outright play?
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one because I think on a footballing level, there's maybe not. Well, I know there's not maybe as much drama between the two nations, but I do look at it and I think, again, we're going to go back to the last World Cup. So many comparisons, but in the last World Cup, these two teams met up, and of course, notably, it was a match that the U.S. had to win. It was the last match of the U.S. in the group stage, and they played Iran, and quite frankly, Pulisic sacrificed his manlyhood so that the U.S. could get through, scoring a goal, but also colliding and taking it pretty hard. I had to go to the hospital after that one, but I mean, first question I ask is if he was willing to do that in the last World Cup, seeing the state of things now, what's he going to do now? If he was willing to sacrifice it all back then, I can't even imagine what he's got planned for this one. But no, realistically, I think, again, this is somewhat similar to what we were saying earlier. This is a match that the USA should win. It would be a match that there's no doubt for me the USA should win. But the question is, even if they should win, would they win? I think especially, look, as much as you maybe want to look past it, there is some underlying, obviously some stuff going on that makes that match mean a little bit more than normal. It makes it mean more. So yeah, you would have to see, I'm sure that there would be a lot of cameras on that match, but it would be, that would be a very eventful match. I can tell you that much for sure.
No doubt about it. Adam, what would you think about that hypothetical scenario, man? I mean, it would just
Well,
be
I look, I know in this mature world that we live in, whenever there is political unrest, the best way to solve it is get everybody down on the pitch and have a match.
Exactly.
Right? That's exactly what it is. And so, no, I mean, look, you hope things wouldn't be decided outside the stadium in the way that, Knicks and Spurs fans are behaving themselves right now. But, it's as Cormac said, I think the unfortunate reality, I mean, people would get hyped around the United States because, of course, it just means another match that the U.S. is participating in within this tournament. But in a general sense, how much does it really mean? Does it, impact your chances of going out and actually winning? Like, neither of these clubs is going to win the World Cup. I don't think we're delusional. I think we accept that. And so, yeah, it does heighten the importance of individual matchups and with everything that is going on in the world, sure. But I don't know. It sort of gives me the vibes of like the old Chappelle show. Prince is playing basketball. Like, how about, you and your friends against me and the revolution? Let's find out. Let's see what it actually looks like when these sides get together. If they do, we got to get there first.
Yeah, and it starts tonight. The United States and Paraguay on their quest to getting at least to the round of 32, where this hypothetical matchup may or may not take place. A lot of things have to fall into place for that to come to fruition. But hey, that's the beauty of the World Cup. We can speculate all these potential showdowns between these nations. And man, it has been a blast already throughout those first two games. Can't wait for two more tonight, especially the USA and Paraguay. It is going to be an absolute blast. That is Adam Kaufman. That is Cormac Lichty. Make sure you follow them on the socials at Cormac_United on TikTok, at Adam M. Kaufman on the tweets, myself at Danny Burke 5. And make sure you follow everything else for Called It, www.calledit.media. Make sure you sign up with your email address. It is completely free. You get a hold of the daily newsletter to see what the daily call is, what the call is going to be contributing in the run, our quest to turn $250 into $1 million. We are on trade number 3 with the United States of America to get the outright victory over Paraguay tonight. That is the daily call and trade number 3 of the run, looking to turn this huge investment. Now it's over $1,200. Turn that over $2,600. 47 cents is currently what it's trading at Kalshi. CalledIt gave it out at 48 cents. They believe the true conviction, it should be trading at 52 cents. So potentially some value to be had. And also, by the way, before I get out, remember that World Cup page, it's giving you all the chances of percentages of getting out of the group stage, of getting to the championship game, of winning the World Cup. It's just some great statistics to help guide you when you're making your trades on these prediction platforms. So make sure you get a hold of that. And then when you sign up, you can qualify to get some merch, free hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, etc. I was repping the polo yesterday. Fantastic material. You can get it for free just by signing up at CalledIt.media. CalledIt.media. But appreciate everybody tuning in. Once again, big shout out to Adam and Cormac. Adam will be back in the mix on Monday alongside Stephanie Odie. We will be back, same time as always, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Plenty more World Cup, plenty to recap, and plenty to look forward to. So until then, best of luck with all your investments, and we will see you on the record.